Hi, Charles. Thanks for helping my project.
Well, you're welcome.
Did you know that NASA is planning to go back to the moon?
Yes, I did.
What do you think about it?
I think it's a little overdue. So, I think I don't know what happened. I'm not even sure how NASA fits in with the new. I know it's supposedly military, but the space force, and of course the International Space Station is kind of winding down, and so I'm not sure how all fits together. I haven't followed NASA, but yeah, I think NASA's. I think a lot of the technology we have today stemmed out of NASA. There would be no need for it if. The need would be there, but it would be 100 years behind time. If we hadn't had NASA making it happen.
Yeah, I often think, one of the great things that came out of the Apollo program was having like this army of technically trained people that suddenly became very, very cheap and went into all these different startups and other companies.
Yeah, I knew many of the people that actually were successful in NASA that ended up in higher spots in some of the the old Philco Fords and Singer Links and things like that. And that's another question I have in my mind is how all the job market things going to fit with the SpaceX's and to be honest with you, the Space Forces. I think they're going to somehow. I don't know how they're going to get the qualified people they need and under the military pay standards and things. So they may be robbing back and forth from each other. I'm not sure how that's going to work. But there's a lot of politics in it. but yeah, I'm all for NASA going to the moon and doing what they can do up there and learning from that, from everything, technology, medical standpoint.
Did you see the first moon landing?
I wasn't there.
not on site, right?
my grandmother, who I'm 77. My grandmother was I forgot how old she was when that first moon landing, but anyway, she was born in 1865.
Oh wow!
And so of course she would not ever. That was the first conspiracy theorist person, because she just said absolutely not. Anything out of our atmosphere. She was before cars, so she was before cars, before airplanes, so anything
before lights.
Everything above that was heaven, biblically heaven. It contradicted her thoughts of. So she said it was fake, and of course, then believe it or not, all the fake stuff, people came out. The dust didn't stick to the boots right, and the flags were rigid, and they weren't, and there was no atmosphere, and blah blah blah. The story. But anyway, so those things have been around. I'm trying to think while I'm talking about my feelings when they first went to the moon, but it was a big deal. One of my buddies that grew up lived over there in Nassau Bay. Hey, fine. How are you?
Good.
Hello.
How are you?
Glad to see you up and about.
Yeah.
So anyway, he lived over there on Carriage Court, and couldn't even get. I can't remember which astronaut it was. He couldn't even get down his road. We were school kids. He couldn't get down the road because of all the television. Of course, in those days when he was set up on someone's house, they had tons of cables, huge cables laying out on the road, and so he had to stop a block away and walk into his house. But like I said, I'm probably pre-biased to NASA and NASA projects, because growing up in the area, even though I've never actually come clean out with my first ex-wife was worked at NASA in not in a critical position, but just entry-level position there for several years. And I've known a few people from time to time there, but the majority of the people, I just know about. Not I haven't known, but I lived in the area, so it's hard for me not to support their efforts to go to the moon and others, Mars.
Do you think at some point we'll have people actually living in other places, like raising families and doing that type of thing, or no?
It's hard for me to really. I've thought of that. I've tried to, pondered it, and I can't do that, because I'm at the end of my life, and at 77, and of course, you would have to sign on for a lifetime to make it, so 10 years out, 10 years back, I'm taking a TDY to, it's not like when I was in the military, you go 179 days and then you come back home, it's just no permanent change of station, but I just can't imagine. Besides the technical reasons why, I'm sure you could live on a spacecraft and make water and air and vegetables, whatever is necessary, everything in a pill, but as far as being able to mentally sustain life away, and whether it's in the transit or whether it's once you get on the planet, it's kind of like I guess it'd be like the people that do the Antarctica experiments, but probably a order of magnitude, who knows, 100 times more. It's got to be crazy, because there's no coming back. No way back soon. Yeah, okay. You want to go home? Well, 20 years, you get back to your home station. Kind of like and then you wonder about. Now this is really. I shouldn't be saying this in here, but there's an old John Prine song.
Oh, I don't know this one.
Oh my gosh, you got to look it up.
John Prine.
John Prine, Space Monkey, Space Monkey. I think
Oh,
is the name
wow.
of it. And this is back in the original space races, and talks about Soviet Union sending up monkeys, and then it's outdated. The song is now, but the song's 40 years old.
Right.
But then when they come back home, everything's changed, and it's the monkey. Sort of what you're talking, or sort of my angle of what you're asking the question about going into deep space. When you come back, there's no one there to even. They sent the monkey up, and here it is. 30 years later, the monkey comes back. So I'm struggling for the words of it, but there's some funny. It's a comic. It's a spoof, but there's some funny words in this Space Monkey song.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
If you could take a trip to space, a short one, like to orbit, just to go around the Earth a few times, or to the moon and back in a week, well, is that something that you would consider doing?
Well, if you'd asked me this last week, before the submarine incident, and before SpaceX's, I don't understand. I'm a SpaceX fan, but I don't understand the failure down there with that mega rocket with the launch thing. It seems like that wasn't even rocket science. It seems like that was all predictable. The thrusts and the temperatures and whatever to cause that failure on the launch pad. So, to be honest with you, obviously I couldn't even pass a flight physical, much less a space physical. But I'd be a little bit leery. I really would. Not to get way off on it, but I used to never have any fear of heights. I like to fly. I'm getting ready to go next week. I used to fly an airplane trip, and so I like that, but I don't like heights, if that makes sense. I used to not be claustrophobic, and I am now, and I never was. So it's really weird. Something happens when you age, and if you'd asked me this question 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I wouldn't even give it a second thought. I'd say if I had a spare $1 million to put on an airplane, a space ticket, I'd be the first one. But I think, unfortunately, I think the old man's creeping in on me, and I just can't make myself. To be honest with you, I don't think I would. I think I'd let someone else take my spot.
That's awfully generous of you.
Yeah.
Well, Charles, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I hope it wasn't too jumbled that you can't get something out of it. But
No, it was perfect.
good. Great.